With the Ysl Rico trial now beginning, all of the charges against rapper Young Thug are being revealed, with Young Thug looking at several charges which could result in life inside of prison. Things are looking concerning for Young Thug, as his best friend and Ysl partner snitched on him in the case. Before revealing Young Thug's new charges that were released today, it's important to know on December 14th, Ysl rapper Gunna accepted a plea deal inside of the courtroom. In this surprise plea deal, Gunna had to admit that Ysl is a street team that commits street crimes, as shared in this video clip.
You agree or acknowledge that statements are true, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
YSL is a music label, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in front of you.
Yes, ma'am.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped a vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocarbons and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you acknowledge the following statement? I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL to the detriment of my community. YSL again. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.
If you're a fan of Young Thug, leave a like on the video. I'm curious how many fans are watching today. Now, once that court footage was leaked online, the entire rap world went crazy, as Boosie tweeted within minutes, and I quote, "Rat, this would have put tears in my eyes. My brother, my artist, like what am I defending my life for that I'm not running a street team and you do this to Big Dog? You already know it's a street team. If the firearms and narcotics aren't yours, then whose else were they in the car?" Now, in case you're confused from that tweet, allegedly one of the charges against Gunna was for narcotics and firearms that were found inside of a vehicle that he was in with Young Thug. So with Gunna claiming in court that they are not his, this obviously then lands on Young Thug. As Boosie then tweeted again, he has one charge. He was not gonna get any hard time. These lawyers don't care about your legacy. They know what they're doing to your name, but they're also getting you out of jail. So their name blows up and you gotta pay them more when you're free, and they made you cooperate. Now, the next day after Gunna snitched on Young Thug had his own court hearing set before the trial began. It was revealed during Young Thug's hearing the following day that he had no idea Gunna was even being released or accepted a plea deal. During this court hearing for Young Thug, when he was told the news of Gunna pleading guilty to several charges, revealing YSL does street activities, he did not look very happy. As when looking at these photos of Young Thug, he looks very worried. Sadly, I can't share the video clip, but once the judge revealed Gunna gave up information on YSL, he is seen putting his head to the back of his chair and sinking and leaning into his chair, looking very upset, showing a lot of sad emotions as well. But once the court hearing was over, this is where things got concerning. Young Thug was seen standing out of his chair, staring right into a camera inside of the courtroom, staring into the lens for a few seconds while giving a smirk and then going back to his normal face, almost like a sarcastic smile. It was at this moment where Young Thug knew his chances of being released were zero, and Young Thug and his lawyers were arguing and yelling in the courtroom, demanding bond or bail for Young Thug, just like Gunna got. As Young Thug's lawyer does not find it fair that Gunna was given a plea deal, but Young Thug can't get any sort of help inside of the courtroom. Now, fast forward to today, with the YSL trial now beginning, the judge outlined all of the current charges against Young Thug and is currently handpicking the jury. Out of the 65 total charges on YSL, rapper Young Thug is being charged with 8 of them, with 8 counts, and is currently looking at facing life in prison. The 8 charges Young Thug is currently facing is conspiracy to violate the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act, otherwise known as the RICO Act. He's facing 1 charge of participation in criminal street activity, 1 charge of possession of narcotics with intent to distribute, possession of a special type of drink with intent to distribute, possession of even more narcotics, possession of a firearm, and 1 charge of possession of switches for firearms. These charges have now been confirmed as YSL members snitched out Young Thug, giving the feds all of the evidence that they need against him. And it cannot be a coincidence that right after Gunna snitches on Young Thug, gets a plea deal, and gets released from prison, the trial is now beginning. And with the trial now beginning, this is where we're starting to see Gunna's reputation going down, as many people are looking at him as a snitch. This is where Gunna had to break his silence, and he released this statement. While I have agreed to always be truthful, I do want to make it perfectly clear. I have not made any statements, have not been interviewed, have not cooperated, and have not agreed to testify or be a witness against any party in the case, and I have absolutely no intention on being involved in the trial process in any way. Now, while Gunna's statement of him claiming he did not snitch or do anything in that sort, it seems kinda confusing as there's video footage of him saying yes ma'am to several questions. Here's where Tekashi 6ix9ine now comes into play. 6ix9ine had this to say: "Just be quiet and listen. I know y'all don't want to accept it, but your man is defending his life in court on a RICO charge, and the judge said, 'You are aware YSL is a street team?' To which you replied, 'Yes, ma'am.' The judge then asked, 'Only you and Jeffrey are in the car, and the police find firearms and narcotics. These did not belong to you, correct?' Where Gunna replies, 'Yes, ma'am.' Now go ahead and make your million excuses. I stand on whatever I did, and that's why I'm still walking this earth and nothing has ever happened to me. I am him. Real guys getting messed with can't be me." Now, sources claim the only way Gunna serves a life sentence in prison is if these YSL snitches continue coming forward in the case. Now, this does seem likely, as midway throughout the YSL case, there was an alleged rumor going around that Young Thug was having YSL members on the outside trying to intimidate the snitches in YSL to make sure they stop going after Young Thug, as this was said during the first ever court hearing in the case.
He's the one directing traffic. He is the one they're all afraid of. He's the one that's king slime. He is the most dangerous of the 28, Judge. And I implore you not to grant him a bond. He is dangerous. If he gets a burner, Judge, and the court may know this, a lot of the communications that Mr. Williams is on FaceTime, because it's not traceable, it's not trackable. Judge, I will also say that we have taken proffers from fellow from Mr. Williams. Some are on this indictment, some are not. They have stated uniformly that Mr. Williams is dangerous. They are afraid of him, that if they cross him, he will them and their family. And they were very clear about that.
Concerns that this court has is danger to persons and to intimidate other witnesses and obstruct the administration of justice. So and for those reasons in the aggregate, I'm going to deny bond at this time.
As soon as YSL members were arrested right at the start, there was a few members going straight to the feds and snitching, trying to get out of prison. And this actually did work for a few, as the first snitch in the case was none other than Lil Woody. It is rumored that Lil Woody does street activities and street jobs for Young Thug as well as YSL. So when he was arrested, he went straight to snitching, as he doesn't want to be in prison the rest of his life. Once it was found out that Lil Woody was snitching, Jaden Myrick allegedly was going after him, as well as trying to do anything to make him stop. Jaden Myrick had to admit on the stand inside of a federal courtroom that he is a YSL team member and was intimidating snitches in the case, trying to get them to stop going against Young Thug. As Jaden had to admit this, as the feds had hard-hitting evidence against him going after Lil Woody and his family. This is why Lil Woody also demanded safety for him and his family after snitching, otherwise known as the Witness Protection Program. It's been ever from the start of the court case where the prosecutors have only wanted Young Thug. As while inside of jail, Young Thug had his manager post a tweet for him to try to keep his reputation still active on social media. Now this tweet said, and I quote, "I'm talking with my roommate and we're wondering, if you could swim 100 miles from the middle of the ocean back to shore, at Michael Phelps. Now, what seems like a very innocent tweet sent out by Young Thug's manager on Young Thug's request, it turned very ugly, as prosecutors are alleging that Young Thug is using tweets with secretive codes for YSL members to do acts or crimes in the free world. Here's Young Thug's lawyer defending him in the courtroom about the matter.
Williams is in a jail outside of Fulton County. There are 0 cell phones in that jail.
That last tweet that was sent out to Michael Phelps is recorded. It's been investigated by the sheriff of that county, and it was a conversation that's recorded between Mr. Williams and a member of his close friendships, that he asked the other person who has control of his Twitter account. That is not a reason to...
Well, this is part of the conversation, Mr. Steele, and you and others are going to need to have with your clients, because this is part of the state's concern. I mean...
That was an innocent... That's nothing bad. Asking somebody to tweet to Michael Phelps, can you swim 100 miles in the ocean? That has nothing to do with intimidation. That ask you,
well, if I can communicate through a family member or somebody else, then I can communicate something else.
Everything okay over there?
Sorry.
Yep. Okay, your family was concerned that something was going on. You're fine, right?
Yes, I'm great.
Okay, cool.
Now, I'm very curious to know, do you guys believe that Young Thug is guilty, and do you believe he will be serving any sort of prison sentence? With the way things are going, it kinda looks like he will. Leave a like on the video if you are a Young Thug fan, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new. It's been District Trending, and I'm out. Peace.